What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo chapter spoiler summary. And today we are going over the spoilers for chapter 15. As always, I do want to start this video out by saying this is not a market substitute and this is not a place for me to re-host the chapter by any means. Please support the official release any way you can, be it by buying the physical volumes or getting a digital subscription to Shonen Jump to read the chapters on Sunday. That being said, thank you to everyone who tunes into these videos. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the hype button just to make sure that this video goes out to all of the other Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo fans. And let's get right into the spoiler summary, everyone. As we know, fresh off of the heels of last chapter, Tsurugi and Maru are right into the midst of a fight. Tsurugi placing everything on the line for his sister's life, attempting to stop the duel with Dborah. Meanwhile, Maru fighting for his people as they need a place to stay and have nowhere else to go but the depths of space. We actually do cut to the complete opposite side of the spectrum for this chapter, going into the events of the duel itself, with Yuka and Mino taking a military jet on the way to the stated place, the inhuman Makio ground, where the duel between Yuka and Dborah will take place. Based off of the suspicions of Tsurugi, Yuka has been performing some kind of death vow to increase her power, while also in the midst, unfortunately, hastening the speed of her brain cancer. It's gotten to the point where Yuka is finding it tough to stand, and Mino actually has to put her into a wheelchair to get her onto the transport. As Yuka is thinking to herself while waiting to arrive at the duel, she thinks about all the time she spent with Tsurugi, her brother, as a youth, and admits that if she was to be reincarnated after death, it would be nice to have the chance to be an older sister. For the last 16 years of her life, what she's actually been doing is holding back against Tsurugi, thinking of the needs of him, what snacks he wants to eat first, teaching him how to get by and not get caught cheating in video games and other kinds of entertainment, and also even helping him with homework. Yuka smiles to herself because despite being the younger sister, she admits that she really took charge in a lot of things and Tsurugi just kind of sucked as an older brother, but that's something that she always loved about him and clearly appreciates. And in one of the most saddest moments of the entire series so far, we know Yuka's brain cancer is bad, but it has actually gotten to the point where she is completely losing vision and is actually confusing someone like Mino as her brother Tsurugi, deliriously talking to her brother as if he's right there in front of her, making Mino completely shocked that Yuka would actually have gotten this far gone into her cancer, something that makes Mino start crying and tearing up because Yuka starts talking, admitting she told Tsurugi not to come, and that's not because she was trying to act tough, but it's because she actually couldn't bear to see her older brother's face seeing her off on a duel like this. But she reminds herself that Tsurugi is the kind of person to put on a tough face and do what he thinks is right, calling him the type of guy to tell a girl with no makeup on that she's cute, not because it's true, but because he thinks it's the right thing to say, revealing that at the end of the day, even now, he has no idea about what's in the heart of another woman, even his sister. Yuka thinks back to a moment she had with her brother, where she wanted to save one of her friends from an Ikuryo, a curse spirit that isn't even designated a grade, something weaker than even a fly head. This must be some new type of curse spirit that has started to awaken since the overall power of the world has downgraded over time. Yuka admits she really thought she could have just dealt with it by herself, and she got upset that Tsurugi had to come with her, but she also thinks about the fact that her friend might have died if she wasn't fully prepared, thinking to herself that she always had to sit back and accept the kindness of her older brother who never blamed her for anything. Yuka, after thinking about all of this and finally having the time before she dive bombs off of the helicopter into the duel with Dborah, she does eventually think to herself that if I do get reincarnated, it would be nice to be a younger sister again, showing that even with all of the moments and all of the things that she's done and the things that she wishes she could have accomplished, she has fully accepted her fate, showing that even if Yuka does actually die here, just like Gojo and all of the previous people in the era that she never even got to know those people in, she will be dying without regrets. However, even though she can die without regrets, Tsurugi is something else entirely, as she sheds a tear for him. Going back a little bit in time before the helicopter arrives, Dborah is surprisingly actually having a conversation with the sorcerer that showed up beforehand, before the duel began. Dborah wonders if this is his opponent, but the person that arrived assures him that they will not be the one fighting Dborah today. However, they did want to have a chat with him and give them the blessing of humanity. Now, I'll be completely honest here. As always, differing translations and differing interpretations of the text context in this page, so I want to make that very clear. Based off of everything that we are seeing, this sorcerer is very clearly either Mei Mei or Wee Wee. This figure does seem very feminine, so if I had to guess with all of the crows, it makes sense to be Mei Mei. Either way, the point of the scene does not change at all, because this older sorcerer has come to, as I said before, greet Dborah, actually taking the time to thank Dborah for showing up today. Dborah is surprised that someone would be thanking him for participating in a duel that decides the fate of their people. But this person, whether it be Mei Mei or Wee Wee, most likely Mei Mei from what I'm gathering here, admits that the people of this era have forgotten what it means to be strong, have forgotten what it means to be afraid of something powerful. However, 70 years ago, there was a humongous surge of power that shook the entire country. However, after that, because everyone was able to set aside their differences and come together, a peace came. This person displays 3 young children that were about the age of Wee Wee from the original cast. That could just be either new adopted children, who knows what Mei Mei's got going on, or if again this is just Wee Wee. The new shadow style, I'm not gonna get into that. This person is thankful for Dborah showing up because these children have no idea what the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery looks like, the pinnacle of what a living being can achieve. So they are happy that Dborah will be fighting today, because this is a chance for the true terror of their original cursed ancestor that overflowed from the original inhuman Makiko to, for once, actually reveal itself and show what real strength is to the world. Dborah admits he's sad to tell this to the sorcerer, but unfortunately, unless they have an opponent that's actually worth anything, Dborah is not going to be able to show any real strength if it's over before the show begins. However, as this person is surrounded by crows and disappears, they tell Dborah not to worry, because they're in full belief that the person showing up in this duel will be more than capable of satisfying Dborah and his loneliness of being the strongest. As this person disappears, the helicopter comes overhead and we catch back up to current time, where Yuka is wondering what will become of Tsurugi after her death. And the actual second that she drops into the battlefield and is in range of Dborah, she takes a battle stance that we are all too familiar with, as she puts 2 fists in front of her body and a horde of shadow wolves and frogs reveal themselves to howl to the moon. Yuka apologizes to Dborah as she calls out for the 8-handled sword, Divergent Sila, Divine General Mahoraga, and Yuka, as she drops into the floor, sinks right down into bottomless well into the shadow. So not only has she given up a large portion of her life in a death vow, she has also 110% added another hand to the play, which is Mahoraga, the adapting Shikigami, is here to play with Dborah. Mahoraga's appearance doesn't shake Dborah in the least bit, and in 1 second, Dborah blinks into the air and fires off a humongous barrage of light spears that slam right into Mahoraga, impaling him and completely one-shotting him in a single attack. Dborah stands on top of a tower of what look like actual light rods taken form, as they have stabbed all through Mahoraga and showered the entire area in blood. We don't get a name for Dborah's technique exactly, as unfortunately the word that explains it is a word humans are unable to pronounce and is not in any language on Earth, and it is actually a technique that is passed down to the Discante clan. Alls we know is that it summons murderous intent as if it was a physical incarnation, conjuring some sort of mass that takes the shape and form of light. But in the final page, what's even more insane is that Mahoraga actually was not defeated here, and the Dharma Chakra Wheel, as we know, always does, makes a turn, and its adaptation towards an alien curse technique, something that it has never possibly touched, which we don't know what's going to happen to Mahoraga when this does occur, happens. And that's where the chapter ends. Whether we go right to Maru and Tsurugi after this, or we pick right up where we left off with Mahoraga continuing the battle with Dborah, this was a roller coaster of a chapter to react to, and I cannot wait to see what the hell happens next chapter. So guys, if you've been enjoying, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in to the spoiler summary. And as always, you can check the review when the official chapter comes out later on in the week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.